Welcome back to another episode of Parenting in Progress. I'm Corey.
I'm Jordan.
And we're the Welches. Welcome back to another episode. Episode number 2 of the year, Jordan.
We're on a roll.
We're on a roll.
Yep. Starting the new year off right.
Heck yeah, we are. It's been a pretty good 2026 so far. Hopefully we keep it up. It's pretty early into the game, but
I'm sticking with a couple of my goals so far.
have you?
Yep.
I haven't even started mine.
Get to it.
I'm going to have to. So our basement has carpet in it,
And it's wonderful.
but not all the carpet in it.
Majority. Yes.
So to give a little background story on how our carpet fiasco kind of has gone, what seemed to be a easy project of us getting the carpet in, getting the carpet layer to lay it, and done, it had a snag in it. Our carpet layer came and did a fantastic job, was here probably, he was on his second day here, I believe, of laying the carpet. And Jordan and I were actually home because we had that day off, or I had the day off. The carpet layer comes up kind of in the middle of the afternoon. Jordan just got Carly down for a nap, I believe. And he's like, hey, can I bother you for a minute? I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you need? I thought maybe he wanted to bring some carpet in because earlier that morning I helped him take the carpet downstairs because it was heavy. There were big rolls of carpet. So I just thought maybe he needed my help with something. He's like, well, we have good news and bad news. And I'm like, okay. And the way he said it, it wasn't like it was going to be like a huge, huge deal. It was just like, hey, we've got a problem, but also there's a silver lining to it. And he proceeds to tell me the carpet that is currently being laid downstairs is not our carpet. It was not the correct color or carpet. So that was the bad news. Actually, bad and good, I guess. The nice part was the carpet that was downstairs that they were laying was way nicer than the carpet that we had picked out. So that was the good part, is it was more expensive carpet. But another bad news piece, we were short on carpet. So the bathroom and the closet in the basement do not have any carpet yet. But the good part was, and ironically, I made this joke when we pulled the carpet out of the trailer that morning. I'm like, man, I hope this is the right carpet. And he's like, yeah, I hope so. I was like, well, it looks close enough, which Jordan was really the one that kind of picked that one out. I knew it was close. It wasn't like it was brown and we wanted white or something like that. It wasn't crazy far off. Actually, looking back now, it was our number 2 choice of carpet. It wasn't the one that we got, but it was the second one that we thought about getting.
Yeah. So when he was talking to you, I'm hearing him talk to you and I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is he talking to you right now? And when I came in and he kind of gave me the update, he had a piece of it with him. And I looked at it, I'm like, you could have laid this down and I would have thought that that was the carpet that I picked out. I would have had no idea. I remember walking to get the mail and I looked at a piece of it while it was out in the garage. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks good. I didn't think too much of it. I remember laying out the 2 different colors that we were looking at. And one of them had a really darker charcoal fleck to it. And the other one had a lighter gray fleck. And I picked the lighter gray because I didn't want it to feel darker in the basement. So when he showed us that carpet, I was like, that's the second choice. That's the one with the charcoal fleck. And I have no issues with it. Like you said, it's not like we picked out brown and they brought us green carpet. Obviously, if it was something that we didn't like and we're like, no, we don't want this, we would have said something. But I think it was great. Like he brought it up and he's like, this is definitely a much better quality carpet than what you picked out. And I told him, I said, you know, honestly, like I just picked a color that I thought would work good in the basement. We weren't wanting to spend an arm and a leg. We didn't need top quality carpet in our basement. And he's like, no, I get it. He's like, this is going to be really nice though. And I double checked. I was like, we're not paying for this. And he's like, oh no, they're not charging you anything. We actually had paid for everything, put it on the credit card when you, Corey, went to go pick up the padding that one day. Overall, we're still waiting on 2 rooms, but the majority of the space downstairs has carpet in it, and we've been utilizing it every single day. It's been wonderful to have Carly running around. It's been wonderful for us to just have kind of an extra lounge space to hang out in.
Yeah, Carly loves it, I think, more than we even like it. So that's a good thing. We've got majority of stuff moved down there. We got a couple more straggling pieces to put down there. Kind of looking at the plans and the layout. We've got the living room kind of laid out, but we got some more stuff we want to put down there. Just trying to figure out exactly what it is and where to put it. So that'll kind of be a project that'll continue on. Jordan's redoing all of Carly's clothes. She's been vacuum packing those to stuff into some totes and things like that. So I'm glad that it's mainly behind us. So it is awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely awesome.
The big part's done, and now it's just trying to make it a complete space.
So since the last time, it would have been the episode before our New Year's episode, Carly's had a lot of different little growth spurts, I guess you could say. She's learned some new tricks, as my parents would call it. She's got new tricks. There for a while, especially through kind of the holidays, Carly didn't go to bed very well, and she'd wake up super early. It was hard for us, which we were kind of all out of our routine. We were, home every day and running around, and so some of it was some family things we had going on. So we got home late and she went to sleep late. Some of it was just on us. We were just messing around. All of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, it's 9:30. We got to go to bed, girl. So
it makes it hard when she's very good at covering how tired she is, if that makes sense.
She's an actor.
She is. So there's times when she's not throwing fits, when she's not yawning and laying down and all that stuff, it's hard to tell that she actually is tired. And that's when I think we lose track of time. So we've been working on it this past week of just trying to be better and getting her back into her routine. We're getting back into our work routine and everything. So, and I've read somewhere that, especially when they're younger babies, like you would think if you put them to bed later, oh, they'll sleep in. No, it's like opposite. So it makes sense why she was doing that. She went to bed late and she woke up early. I don't know why, but.
Yeah, she was waking up earlier than Dad wakes up, and that was starting to be a little bit of a problem. But once we're both back to work, it's been pretty much clockwork again. We've went past the 9 o'clock time a couple different times, but she's waking up a little later, so it's great.
Yeah, and going back to some of her language things, on one of those early wake ups when it's like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed yet. We went to go get her and brought her into our bed for a little bit. And she said the longest sentence she has. She said, Mama, I want door open. And I looked at you, Corey, and I was like, I counted the words. I'm like, holy cow. It's like 5 words of a sentence, that was meaningful and purposeful. And it was really cool just seeing how much she's saying. When we were at your parents' house and we had to go to your grandma's, she's like, where's mommy? Where's daddy? Like, I was talking to a speech path this week and just telling her how proud of Carly I am and how her language and development is just growing so much, and we're understanding what she's saying and she's learning all these new words. And yeah, it's really fun. And then with her little people Barbie house that she had a little kitty and a boy, and she laid one down on the carpet and had a blanket, and she laid the other one down, and she goes, wake up, little kitty. Wake up, little boy. And then she picked the boy up, put the boy in the bed, and goes, good night. And I just love the the pretend play, the dialogue that she's adding to it, she definitely requires modeling. Everybody requires modeling of how to play and how to interact and how to talk for the people and talk for the animals and move them around and stuff. And she's picking up some of that, and it's fun to see her. And I can't wait to have her expand on that and just see what her little imagination comes up with.
Yeah. And, we've listened to her for the last not quite year, just talking, saying words, picking up new words. Always it was, what's Carly's new words for the week? What's her new words for the week? Well, now she's got this abundance of words she knows. And so it's really interesting watching her pile them together, because it's kind of like a snowball effect. Mm-hmm. Like you start out really slow, but now we're picking up speed, and she's just saying this and she'll say that. And it's like, where did you learn this from? How do you know that? It's really neat. And it's going to get to the point where you and I are probably going to we're going to be holding on to the back of the bus, because she's going to be leaving us.
Yeah. She's probably going to be one of those kids at parent-teacher conferences that's like, well, we had to move her over here and had to split her away from this person and this person. She's chatty, so it'll be fun. One thing we did over break was we went to eat Mexican with one of my friends that was back in town and her family. And we were ordering the food. The waiter was getting the food for one of my friends. And Carly looks up at him and goes, chicken rice. And I looked at Corey and just started laughing. And I'm also thinking, how amazing is it that she knows I have to tell this man what I want to eat and he'll bring it to me? What a concept that she's learning. And so we're laughing. I think the waiter was laughing too.
And she got what she wished for. She got chicken and rice. It was very comical. We all kind of looked at each other like, whoa, she knows that. But she's seen us order plenty times. We probably eat out a little too much, but she knows that. She knows that, yes, this is what I want. I'm going to tell him. I don't need mom and dad to tell him anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it. And it wasn't one of those full 5-word sentences either. If it was, that would have been like a gold star for you, girl. But I'll give her a silver for this one, because she just, yes. And she's not afraid of anybody. She'll talk to everyone. I have not really found one person where she just gets shy and shut down and doesn't want anything to do with them. She is a very social girl. So yes, it was very proud and funny at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. The other trick that she did, and she's only done it once, and I tried to get her to do it again and record it, but of course she's not going to do it for me that way. But we sing the Barney song, I love you, you love me, we're a happy family. We talk about family and how there's mama and dada and Carly. And one night at supper, I was just talking to her. I said, Carly, who's in our family? And she looks at me and she says, Jesus. And I am kind of laughing, but trying not to laugh in front of her like that. I said, Carly, you are exactly right. Jesus is part of our family. And she never said it after that, but I just go back to, wow, the things that we talk to her about, the things that we're teaching her, it's sticking, and she's learning, and she's pulling, things that we've taught her out and utilizing it. And I don't know, it was funny, but then it also, again, was just wow, you're right. And you've been listening to us and learning. It's really fun.
So over break, we went to a children's museum. It was a pretty decent sized children's museum. It was about 3 levels. It had lots of different stuff, from kind of older kid things to younger kid things. We had been there before. We took Carly probably when she was about 1 or so, and she couldn't hardly walk yet. So we were pretty limited on what we could do. This year, it was way more fun. She was able to run around. She wanted to get in a fire truck. She wanted to play with this. She wanted to do that. It was pretty neat. She wanted to do some stuff that she just wasn't quite old enough for.
And I think that some of the things that she kind of got her foot wet a little bit on this time, she still didn't experience it to the full capability. Like the really cool Runza restaurant and the kitchen and make believe things. There's a little hospital with babies and stuff. She's got a few years to really enjoy that and kind of get its full potential out.
Yeah, and it over the break or kind of leading up into the holiday break, there was a lot of sickness going around, and there was. Now, luckily, we had escaped a lot of that. We still, knock on wood, have escaped a lot of that. Carly really hasn't had much sickness. She's had a little bit of head cold here and there, but nothing terrible at all. And they had quite a bit of Germ-X, because that was the one thing is I'm like, all right, we're going to a bigger town. Sickness is everywhere. And there's going to be how many kids and how many people there. And that's just kind of a germaphobe type of me coming out. They had pretty good Germ-X. We brought some, we were pretty diligent about putting it on. Probably every 5 or 6 things we did, we went and found one, or maybe I walked across the way, got a squirt, put it on Carly's hands, rub them together, and she'd rub them together. So that was really nice. They did have a pretty good sanitation plan in there, which you kind of got to. There's so many kids with so many germs running around there.
Corey, the little kids zone you were getting kind of frustrated at.
I was. That was probably the most frustrating piece. So last year when we had went, Carly was little, and they have this little kid zone that is for kids, probably three and younger?
Yeah, I think it was 0 to 3.
Something like that. So it's a spot for little kids to crawl around in just their own little zone. So all the bigger kids really aren't in there messing around. Okay. It's a little more of a quieter spot, stuff like that. So it's a neat little place.
And they had more age appropriate toys for the little ones that couldn't do the bigger stuff.
Yep. And it was a rubber floor. And one of the things it asks you to do is take your shoes off. And the reason they have you take your shoes off is because you've got little babies and little kids that can't quite walk around, and so they play on the floor. And so last year we ended up taking our shoes off, and Carly played on the floor and played with some of those toys. This year, we still took our shoes off, went in there. She played with some of the bigger kid toys and actually went down a little slide that's there. And the thing that was ticking me off is I didn't at first take my shoes off because I didn't know how long Carly was going to be in there. And so I'm like, I don't really want to take my shoes off if Carly's going to be in there for 2 minutes and come out. So Mom and Carly go in there, and I see these ladies that weren't much older than me, and they have a littler kid, and they walk in there like, are we supposed to take our shoes off? And they just kind of scare like, why do we have to take our shoes off? And so they all proceed to walk in with their shoes on, and there were some other parents in there with their shoes on, but the kids had their shoes off. If we would have had a younger kid that was crawling on the floor, I would have told every single one of them, go take your shoes off. Have respect for my kid playing on here, because I don't need all the germs off the street, because this is in the downtown. It's not like it's got its own little deal out on the suburb of town. It is in downtown. I don't need all your germs coming off your shoes, running around this kid zone where kids are playing on the floor. If you want it where all the older kids' toys are, that's sure, because they're not playing on the floor. They're playing with the toys off the floor. But it struck me of the respect. I mean, when you go to a children's museum, you have to respect the older kids. You have to respect the younger kids. You have to respect parents of all different ages. It's just the right thing to do. And it's not that Jordan and I just are rule followers. We actually went into a older kid place. We didn't really know that at the time, but went into an older kid's place and we were playing, and Carly was only 3, and you had to be at least, I think, 7 or something like that is what it said. 7 and up was recommended. That was their own zone. So it's not like we even followed the rules, but at the same time, respect the little kids of that. And there was some older kids that were in there, and they were running around and playing and getting loud and stuff. And it's one of those things where it's like, just respect what's going on. Now, luckily, there wasn't really any kids at that point playing on the floor that I saw in there. A lot of them could at least stand, and they were playing with the toys that were off of that. But if there was, I probably would have said something. But just, it's one of those things that will grind your gear a little bit. Because I just remember from last year, If that would have happened last year, I'd have been ticked and I would have let them all know.
And I feel like maybe the museum should put on there are little babies crawling around the floor, hands and mouths, all the things that you can't control. That's just what babies do. I wish that their sign was maybe a little bit more clear because, there's things that kids have to take their shoes off for a lot of times. Trampoline parks, got to take your shoes off. There's a lot of things like that I think the parents didn't realize that, oh, I need to take my shoes off because there's babies crawling around on the floor and they're putting their hands in their mouth and their toes in their mouth. If the sign was a little bit more explicit, I think it would maybe be taken better. But yeah, it is frustrating, especially when there's, 8 and 10-year-olds coming in with their shoes on, running around. It's like, this is supposed to be a safe spot for the little kids that can't do the rest of the entire museum. So yeah, it's frustrating. And you're dealing with parents and you're dealing with lack of parents because we did that as well in the museum. There was a spot where Carly really wanted to do the fire truck again. And it's really cool. It's a neat little, has a bench that, easily 3, maybe 4 kids could sit on. And there's lights and everything. Well, it was the last thing before we left. And she asked you apparently multiple times to go back to the fire truck. So we went there and it was full of kids. So we're just standing there waiting for them to leave. And there was a parent there at first.
I can't say that there was or wasn't. We ended up figuring out who the parents were, or at least knew their face just by after the deal. But these kids were older kids too.
Yeah, I would say no younger than 7, 8, 9 max. There was like 3 of them, and one boy that was behind the steering wheel was kind of rowdy. When the other kids left and Carly was getting on, that boy stayed, which is fine. Carly can stay there.
And we waited our turn because those boys were running around there. And so Jordan, I think, had to go to the bathroom quick, and Carly and I sat there, and Carly wanted to get in there. I said, no, wait, we're going to wait our turn. These boys are playing with it. Once they get done playing with it, then we'll get up in the cab and we can do what we want.
Yeah, so they left, but the one boy stayed behind the wheel. Not a big deal. Carly could go and sit and push the buttons and stuff like that. Well, that boy was kind of wild, and he's yelling at his other friends, come on, get back in here, come on. And you could kind of see on Carly's face that she's like a little uncomfortable. She didn't feel like she could play like she would normally do because what's going on? I don't know these kids. This boy's yelling at other kids. And I think one boy did come in. Did he ask to come in?
Yes.
He asked to come in, and maybe it was just a teacher in me that I was like, you can if you're calm. She's little. And he said yes, and he was fine. That boy was fine. Then I think they were just, the other boy was getting kind of rowdy again. I said, she's little, be careful. And I said, we waited our turn to get in here because some other boy he's trying to get all his friends to come back in here. It'd be different if we didn't wait and we just joined with them, which no, we waited our turn. And then one boy was kind and asked if he could get down. So we got out of his way. And it's not like I was trying to parent them, but they had no parent next to them. And to be honest, they were pushing kind of the limit of appropriateness at that play spot. They're kind of getting a little too old for it. They just needed a reminder of, we need to be calm in these areas.
And we had this conversation on the way home from our town trip. And if we went there all the time, maybe we wouldn't watch Carly quite as hard. I mean, we stay pretty close to her generally. It's not like we're always in her business. We kind of let her play with stuff a little bit, but we're also having to model things too. But their parents were nowhere near it. And I think it's just something that, we go back to just sometimes there's just a lack of discipline, which also there is a point of respect of others. I think those kind of go hand in hand to a certain point. And if that would have been Carly and her friends that we would have had them there, we wouldn't have been in the middle of the fire truck like we kind of were with Carly. Just because she's littler, we would have probably stood off to the side, maybe try to take a picture here or there. But if there was a little kid, we would tell our kids, hey, you got to be careful around there. And there was a spot later on, there was a little skating rink, and it was a little slick plastic that they had that was kind of a wintery Santa Clausy type deal where you once again took your shoes off that we could slide on your socks. And at that point, there was a mom that was telling these older boys, you got to watch out for her. She's little. I know you guys want to play, but don't get too rambunctious because you're going to knock her down and then I'm going to be mad.
And I really appreciated that. We didn't say anything, and I just felt like that was very respectful of the other mom to recognize. And, they're still kids. Like, don't get me wrong, they're kids, and sometimes they forget those things. And so that's where having the parent nearby to just gently remind them, hey, these kids are a lot younger than you. They're a lot smaller. You need to be careful.
Not that we were mad going there. We're going to go back. It wasn't a big deal, but that was just something we wanted to bring on the podcast a little bit, kind of ground our gears on some level of just once again, make sure your kids mind a little bit. They're going to be rowdy. I get it. It's fine. But some of those things could have been a little preventable if you would have just said, hey guys, let her get done with it, because Carly's going to be done with it in less than 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's go play over here for 5 minutes and then we'll go back to the truck. I mean, just something like that. And it's always difficult trying to boss the other kids around, but at the same time, we're going to look out for our little family, and that's the way it's going to be. I don't really care.
Exactly. I mean, it's to be expected when you go to one of those places that you're going to run into all types. You're going to run into the kids that are kind and respectful and are taking turns, and you're going to run into the kids that are coming and taking and not doing that. So just trying to have an open mind and not getting little things like, oh my gosh, you tried to take this from her. Like, it's okay. Like, these things happen, and they're teachable moments. So there are some times where I feel like little Mama Bear came out a little bit with me because, again, we waited our turn for that. And Carly had a ball. It was an apple. And some other kid just came up and took it from her. And I went to the kid that was right there and I took it back. And I said, no, this was hers. And I said it, and I mean, it wasn't rude, but I said, no, that's hers. Thanks. And we went on. No, you're not going to take something from my daughter right in front of me. And I'm not expecting parents to be hovering over all their kids. And I think if my daughter did that, it would be fine for someone else to say that to my child. And then I probably would be, watching a little bit more, or I would say, hey, you need to only be taking what's yours.
Yeah, and there's a point where it's big enough we're trying to get through it too. And rather than a kid taking her little apple and having to go back to the beginning to get another apple and walk our way through it, a bigger kid can do that lickety split. Carly can't, because you got to coax her over there. So there's a point to that. And it's not that we're trying to be a couple of Karens saying,
No.
watch your kids. No, that's not the point of it. All we're asking is we're wanting younger parents to know that can happen at places like this. And then also, older parents just keep tabs on them a little bit. You don't have to be a hover parent, but just know what they're doing, and you're not going to catch every little thing. We get that, but just have the respect of all kid ages there, I feel like. So
I agree. And I think it's, like I said, it's to be expected to come into that when you go to those places, and just use them as teachable moments of Carly. Nope. I mean, there's times where I've taken her and said, nope, we're going to go over here. We have to wait our turn. Life is full of teachable moments. And I think that is the prime example of that.
Yeah. And there was plenty of kids running through there. There'd be a kid that'd come through and cut you off or butt in front of you or whatever, because they're ramped up. I mean, kids are excited at a place like that. We fully understand that. But you have the parents that would kind of do the same thing. And then you'd also have the parents be like, I'm sorry. You just say, excuse me, wait your turn. There was some attempt of correctiveness there. Appreciate those parents. The ones where they're just gone, okay. But at the same time, you're not helping anybody else out either. You just got to watch your own kid just a little bit. That's all. Yeah, Children's Museum was good. Overall, I know maybe we painted that a bad picture a little bit, but no, we're going to go back. Carly loved it. She's really going to even play more the older she gets and the more pretend play she does. So it is a really fun place. It's pretty spectacular for what it is.
And we were there for like 2 hours. And we easily could have been there for longer, but it was pushing lunchtime. And again, like she's at the spot where she couldn't do some things so that's where we wait till she's older. We come back again and she can do even more. So yeah, we're definitely going to come back. It was a really fun time. We all enjoyed it.
Like any other husband and wife probably does. Jordan and I, we send each other reels and Instagram stories and all sorts of stuff. And they could be from A to Z. They're a wide range of stuff.
I'm at the point where when I get them, because you'll send them to me throughout the day sometimes, I got to make sure that no one else is around me because some of them might not be super school appropriate or if there's a kid that walks in. So you never know what you're going to get from you.
No comment. But once in a while, we will get on a parenting deal. And so there's all these parenting reels that'll come through and we'll send them to each other. And there was a couple that we saw a couple weeks ago. I thought that we needed to talk a little bit about it on the podcast. Not that these people are wrong, but it seems like you have every neurologist and kid behavioral specialist and, all these people that are going to tell you basically what you're doing wrong parenting. You don't talk to your kid this way. You talk to them that way. This is how you handle this situation. You don't tell them no because they don't understand no. A lot of that is really good in theory, but in the real world, it doesn't always correlate. I mean, if Carly did something spontaneously, I'm going to say no. I mean, you just will. Does she understand it or not? I don't know. Someday she's going to because I'm going to say it enough. But there was only a couple that actually stuck out. And it was this one lady who was basically saying, you only teach with action. You don't need to have a little therapy session with your young kids because they don't care. They're just going to say whatever they want to say to basically get you off their back, and they're going to go play. And they're probably going to do the same thing again. Well, little kids, yes, they're going to do the same thing. You can say, hey, Carly, don't hit me. And she'll just smack you right back. It
Oh, yeah.
doesn't matter. You expect that. I think hopefully most parents would expect that. But I think to a point sometimes those little talking sessions that she doesn't think anybody needs to have, I think there is a time and a place for those. I just don't think that if your kid won't play nice with these other kids, you take them away from the action for a minute or two, and then you bring them back. That's your only way to discipline them. You don't ever talk to them and say, hey, let's not hit. Hey, you're not being nice. You tell them sorry. None of that stuff. You just take them out. I don't necessarily believe in that. I think there's a time and a place for each one of them.
I agree, because what is that kid learning? What are they just know, oh, I did something and I got taken out. And they don't necessarily know what it is. Maybe it's just the teacher in me that's like, no, when you're praising somebody or you're correcting somebody, you need to be specific on what it is for. So they know, because they might not know, and then they'll do the same thing again and have no idea. So I agree and I disagree with that lady about the little talking, because obviously when a child and even an adult is dysregulated, there's no way that they're going to be understanding and comprehending what you're saying to them. I deal with that all the time at school. When I have a kid that's tearing things and cussing and trying to hit things and stuff, they don't give two craps about what I'm saying to them. Oh, you need to take a deep breath. Oh, they don't know. They can't comprehend that. You have to talk about the situation once they're calm. So use those strategies to calm down. And then afterwards, they understand. And like one of my students at school, absolutely, he understands what we're talking about when he's calm. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that, or I should have done this differently. But in the moment, it's in one ear and out the other. So for that point, she's correct. If I'm trying to talk to Carly while she's screaming and crying, she's not going to understand. So you have to get them calm first. But to not talk about it at all, I don't agree with. There's lots of times, and I told you this the other day, you do a great job of when Carly's upset about something, you either pick her up and bring her to your level, or you get down to her level and you talk in a calm, quiet voice of saying, you can't hit because XYZ, it hurts, or mommy can't pick you up right now because she's cooking supper. Like, you do a great job of trying to get her to understand. And Carly can understand a lot more than what we think. But those little talks, even if she doesn't understand, like when we talk about no hitting, yeah, absolutely, she's going to turn around and hit us again pretty quick. Like, that's to be expected. But I feel like the more times that we are talking to her, we can't hit, it's not nice, it hurts, it will instill in her brain. So that's where, like, I agree with the lady, but then I don't agree on certain aspects.
Well, I just feel like a lot of these people on these reels, it's like they act like there's only one right way to do it. It's like this is why you do it this way because it's the only way to do it. They don't understand all the other ones. Maybe for your kid, but not for the next kid. Every kid is different. And so why would you parent every kid the same? You're not going to. Some kids are little princes and princesses. They just don't do any bad. They're really good kids. And then you have some that are just little suckers. I mean, they're just
little boogers,
little thorns in your side, and you got to parent them totally different than the other kid. So, really, what we wanted you guys to take away from that, I feel like a lot of those makes you feel like a crappy parent. They want to make you feel like a crappy parent. They want to make you be like, oh, okay, I need to adopt this because I've been doing things wrong, right? Because they do a really good job of pointing out what a normal parent would do. It'll be like telling Carly, no. Oh, well, you're not supposed to say that. Oh, well, how am I ever going to change that? I'm not. But maybe I think I'll say no, but then maybe I take their advice and try some of those things. You can absolutely try it, but just don't think that you're doing a bad job of parenting and you've been parenting all wrong for X amount of months. And now the world's going to end. My kid's all messed up and no wonder they don't listen. Just take that stuff with a grain of salt. And who knows, some of these people, maybe they're not even who they say they are. Maybe they're not a neurologist or a child specialist or whatever the heck they say they are. We don't know. There's so much fake out there, it seems like, anymore. Just take bits and pieces of what you want and parent the kids how you want to parent them.
And I think give yourself some grace. We're not perfect. And like you said, I feel like they think of, oh, you got to do it this way. And if you're not doing it this way, then you're wrong. Take it, try it, see if it works. If you respond differently 2 times more than you did the day before, then that's a win. Like, it's always about trying to improve and better yourself and try to find what way works for you and your kids. And so give yourself some grace and know that you can make positive changes if you need to make positive changes.
So yeah, we just wanted to throw that out there. I know we've talked about this on our podcast. We don't know everything there is to parenting. Nobody does. So it's one of those things you just got to navigate a little bit better because all of our stories that we say and how we do things with Carly is totally different than other parents. I mean, heck, there's parents that'll take their kids that are older or even younger than Carly and they'll be in bed by 6 p.m.
I don't know how they do that.
We don't do that with Carly. And neither one of us are right or wrong. Honestly, neither one of us are right or wrong. So we just wanted to pass that along is just take those reels. Don't get too hung up on them. If you want to learn some stuff, go ahead and, try some of the things that they say. You'll figure out if it works or not. It may have no effect on your kid and it may have a ton, may change your life. So anyway, that's all we've got for this week's episode. Appreciate everybody listening. We've had a decent uptick in listeners, Jordan.
Yeah, I am so excited about that. Thank you all for listening to us.
Man, in the last 30 days, we added up the other day, we almost had 90 views in 1 month. That's pretty sweet. I mean, we don't average that at all. And I'm guessing some of it probably correlates to the holiday season. Probably a little more travel, a little more podcast listening time. But once again, we do truly appreciate everybody listening in.
I'm ready to get that little blue check mark on my name on social media.
We got a long way to go before that there, girl.
Keep listening and we'll get there.
But anyway, that's all we got for you today. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for listening. Thank you you for listening to Parenting in Progress. If you like what you heard and you're listening to us on YouTube, please go ahead, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. If you're listening to us on other platforms, go ahead, give us a follow and a rating. We truly appreciate it. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.